Yes, it is necessary to have a J-channel at the bottom of the panels. This J-channel helps make sure that there's always enough room for the expansion and contraction of the panels through temperature changes. And it also helps hide what may be inconsistent movement from panel to panel, depending upon which panel may be in direct sunlight and which panels may not be. When the installer installs the panels, they will lift them up out of that bottom channel by about 3/8 of an inch and then hang them by placing a nail loosely at the top of a slot and then center nailing all the rest of them so that the panel can freely expand and contract within these channels as the temperature changes. It's also a good idea to drill little weep holes, about 1/4 inch weep holes every 2 feet in the bottom of this channel to allow any water to escape easier and quicker. Now to the bigger question. Can the panels be seamed on top of one another? And the answer to that question is no, they cannot be seamed. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Most importantly, because the panels are identical in size and shape, one will not lay flat on top of the other. And therefore, there must be a separation between the first course and the second course of panels. The most typical method of separating these two courses is to use back-to-back J-channels. If you use this method, there are 3 very important points that you need to be aware of and remember. First, make sure that you're leaving enough expansion space in the channels, both the top and the bottom, to allow for that movement or expansion and contraction of the siding panels. It's about 1/4 of an inch at the top and about 3/8 at the bottom. Next, as you would with any termination point of siding, add an additional layer of water protection by placing some flashing in between these 2 channels. And lastly, drill about 1/4 inch holes for weeping the water out easier about every 2 feet. Now, when you're installing this second J-channel, if you just lay some extra nails in between the flashing and the channel and then fasten your J-channel, when you pull these back out, you will have adequate space for that water to weep out those holes. A quicker way to transition is to use the board and batten trim. Now, the obvious difference is the finished look. And it's important to note here that even though I'm showing it with the board and batten panel, it also works and looks great as a transition from many other panels as well. But the nicest thing about this piece is that it's easy to install and it cuts down on steps. And that's because, for one, you're not installing 2 channels separately, but also because the flashing is built into the part itself. To install it, first install the first course of panels, then lay the board and batten trim on top of that course, and then lift it up by about 1/4 of an inch and fasten it in the center of the nail slots about every 8 to 12 inches loosely. And then you're ready to install the second course of board and batten panels. Well, there are a couple ideas on how to transition or how to extend vertical siding on a tall wall. I also want to mention that the part that I was showing you on the wall was designed for siding products that have a butt height or extend out from the wall by a maximum of 3/4 of an inch. This part is also available in a wider pocket of 1 1/8 to accept foam back products as well.